Welcome back. Now we're going to move into some very practical tips on getting to know people and building relationships with folks so that we can start sharing Jesus with them. You see, it's hard to share Jesus, let alone share Jesus confidently, if we don't know anybody. So the plan that we are laying out is built for any situation to be able to share Jesus. But now think about the people that God has placed in your life. And if you're taking notes, this is the next heading we're going to get to know people. We must get to know people. You see, like Pastor said, a heart for people is the key to this whole thing. We must love people and we must get to know people. So I want to give you some tips on how to work on that. If you're a little bit like me, I struggle sometimes to get to know people, to remember names, all of those type of things. It's really something I have to work at. And these things have helped me so much to be able to get to know people, to talk to them about spiritual things. So here's the first thing that we must ask ourselves. Who has God placed around me? Now there's a worksheet included with this lesson that has a diagram with a whole bunch of circles on it. And if you would take a look at this, this is going to be what we're going to work off of for the next few minutes. This diagram has different layers of relationships in our lives. So it has you at the center, and it has your family and relatives and friends and neighbors and acquaintances, and then person X. And so person X would be somebody that, you pass on the road, somebody who, lives in your town that you have no connection to. If we're going to be able to share Jesus with people, we must start by knowing and loving the people that God has put in our circle of influences. So here's what we're going to do. You can pause the video right in just a second, and I want to encourage you to take a minute and start writing out names of people in those different layers of your circle. So start and write your name at the middle, and you can do this on another sheet of paper. Just take those same levels, self, family, relatives, so on and so forth, and then start writing names. And especially think about people that you know that aren't Christians. They don't believe in Jesus. The reason we're doing this is because this is going to give us direction on how to go about praying for people. And it's also going to open our eyes to all the opportunities that God has placed in our lives. So often we can think, well, this whole thing about sharing Jesus, okay, I know how I got saved and I'm getting a hold of this plan, but who do I even talk to? Who do I even know? You may have a lot of friends or family members who already are Christians. Why is it so important to learn this? Well, if we start to survey the people that God has placed in our lives, we'll find that there are so many people who are still without the hope that's found in Jesus Christ. And that's the whole goal here. We want to ask God to open our eyes so that we can see the people that need the gospel. So take a moment, pause the video, and begin filling that out. All right, if you pause the video, you've come back. Congratulations, we're ready to move on to the next thing. This goes right along with what we're talking about. What are their names? Okay, and obviously you've written down a bunch of names, so you know some names. But I want to deal more with meeting newer people. Okay, when we come into contact with new people, folks we're not familiar with, we're not acquainted with yet, the most important thing you can do to begin to share Jesus is learn their name. Now that sounds kind of crazy. Why don't you just talk to them and share Jesus with them? Because of this thing. A person's name is so important to them. Someone said this, a person's name is to that person the sweetest, most important sound in a language. When we take the time to know people's names, we begin to show love for them. We begin to show concern for them. We want to be concerned not only for their soul, but for them, because that's part of them. We care about people, so we learn their names. And by learning their names, we show care. And we're able to see God open those doors to share Jesus. So this is one area that you're probably gonna have to work on, just like I do. I have to work on learning people's names. And so here's the next thing I want to challenge you to do. We're going to do another pause here. Pause the video in just a second and write down a list of people that you know that perhaps God is opening a door for you to share Jesus, but you don't yet know their name. So maybe you would write down my child's teacher. Okay, maybe there's a teacher that you don't know their name, or maybe you'd write down, my neighbor 2 doors down. And what I want to challenge you to do is take that list. We're going to write it down in a second, but take that list and ask God to help you to learn those names. And as you learn those names, write them down. Pray over them, pray for them, and begin to allow God to open your eyes to the opportunities that are all around you. There are people that need Jesus everywhere we turn. Let's learn their names. We're going to show care, we're going to show compassion so that we can take advantage of every opportunity to share Jesus.